I'm standing in the hospital hallway, and my hands are shaking so badly I can barely hold my phone. The screen shows a video file I recorded 3 weeks ago, a secret recording I never thought I'd need to use. The timestamp reads 11:47 p.m. My heart is pounding, because what's about to happen will change everything. But right now, in this moment, I'm still the person everyone told me to be, the grieving parent who just lost a child. The doctor walks toward me, with that expression I've seen 100 times in the last 72 hours. Pity mixed with rehearsed sympathy. Dr. Marcus Chen, the neonatologist. He's been kind, professional, devastated for us. At least that's what I thought. Michael, he says softly, placing a hand on my shoulder. I'm so sorry. There's nothing more we can do. Your daughter's organs are failing. We need to talk about end-of-life care. My wife, Ashley, is sitting in the family waiting room down the hall. She's been there for 6 hours straight, barely moving, barely breathing. Our parents are there too. My mother, Karen, her mother, Linda. They're all waiting for me to come back and tell them what the doctor said. But I'm not going to do that. Not yet. I pull out my phone and look at him directly. I need to show you something, Dr. Chen. His face changes. Something flickers across his eyes. Fear, maybe. Recognition. Let's go to my office, he says quietly. I follow him down the corridor, my Nikes squeaking against the linoleum. The hospital smell, antiseptic and recycled air and human desperation, fills my lungs. We pass the NICU window, where I've been staring at my newborn daughter, Lily, for 3 days. Tubes everywhere, machines beeping. A fight I thought we were losing. Dr. Chen closes his office door behind us. It's a small space. Desk, 2 chairs, a medical degree on the wall from Johns Hopkins. On his computer monitor, I can see a half-eaten sandwich and an empty coffee cup. Play it, I say. I don't sit. I stand in front of his desk, shoulders back, and I press play on the video. The audio comes through clear, too clear. It's recorded from my Apple Watch, which I'd been wearing when I left it on the table in the break room. I know exactly what he's about to hear, because I've listened to it 47 times. I counted. It's his voice, and Dr. Patricia Okonkwo's voice, the second neonatologist on Lily's case. They're alone. No one was supposed to be recording. I don't see the point. His voice comes through. The parents are exhausted. The kid's got severe hypoxic ischemic encephalopathy, grade 3. She's not going to have any meaningful life. We could speed this up, make it easier on everyone. My chest tightens every time I hear it. You mean, Patricia's voice, hesitant. I mean, we reduce the interventions. Tell them it's palliative care. Let nature take its course. They'll thank us in the end. Better than dragging it out for weeks. The video ends. I look at Dr. Chen. His face has gone white. Absolutely white. His mouth opens and closes like a fish suffocating in air. That's not what you think it is, he says finally. Really? Because it sounds like you and Dr. Okonkwo were planning to let my 3-day-old daughter die because you decided her life wouldn't be worth living. Without asking us. Without giving us a choice. He stands up, sits back down, stands up again. Michael, we were having a difficult conversation about realistic outcomes. That's not euthanasia. That's medicine. No, I say flatly. Medicine is giving us the information and letting us decide. Medicine is trying every option. Medicine is not talking to your colleague about how to convince devastated parents to give up on their child because you've decided she's not worth saving. He's quiet for a long moment. Then he looks at me with something like desperation. What do you want? He asks. I smile, but there's no warmth in it. Not anymore. I want my daughter to live. And I want you to tell me what you would do if you actually wanted to save her. 3 days ago, I didn't know any of this. 3 days ago, I was just a regular guy who'd gotten incredibly unlucky. I was Michael Torres, 34 years old, working in IT management at a mid-sized healthcare company. I made decent money, $120,000 a year, which in the suburbs of Columbus felt like real success. Ashley and I had bought our house in Worthington 5 years ago, a nice 3-bedroom ranch with a 2-car garage and a yard that needed work. We'd been trying for a baby for 3 years. 3 years of negative pregnancy tests, of Ashley crying in the bathroom, of doctor visits and fertility treatments that cost us almost everything we'd saved. Then, finally, it happened. Ashley got pregnant naturally. We were shocked, thrilled, terrified. The pregnancy went smoothly. The due date was November 15th. We painted the nursery soft gray and white. We bought a crib from West Elm that cost more than my first car. We took classes. We made a birth plan. We were ready. Or so I thought. At 36 weeks, Ashley went into early labor. We rushed to Riverside Medical Center, which was the closest hospital and had a good NICU. I called my mother from the car. Ashley called her mother from the waiting room. The labor was fast and hard, 16 hours of pain that no amount of epidural could fully touch. And then Lily was born. For exactly 4 minutes, everything was perfect. They placed her on Ashley's chest, this tiny, wrinkled, perfect human. She was 7 pounds, 2 ounces. She had Ashley's dark hair and my nose. We cried. My mother cried. Linda cried. The nurses smiled. Then Lily wasn't breathing right. Her oxygen levels dropped. The pediatrician's expression changed. Within minutes, they'd taken her away to the NICU. The words started coming then. Hypoxic ischemic encephalopathy, perinatal asphyxia, organ failure risk, neurological damage. Words that meant everything was wrong. Words that meant our daughter might not survive. And if she did, she might not ever walk or talk or recognize us. But she was alive. And where there's life, there's a chance. That's what I told Ashley when she'd finally recovered enough from the birth to understand what was happening. That's what I told my mother when she asked if we should prepare ourselves. That's what I told myself every single morning for 3 days as I sat next to an incubator that cost more than my truck, watching machines pump oxygen into my daughter's lungs. The hospital had given us a family waiting room, small, with uncomfortable furniture and a television that no one watched. My mother brought me coffee from the cafeteria. Linda brought Ashley blankets and offered useless advice. Ashley barely slept. Neither did I. On the second day, Dr. Chen had come to talk to us. He was kind. He explained the situation carefully. He said there were treatments, cooling therapy, medications, supportive care. He said the first 72 hours were critical, and they were doing everything they could. He didn't give us false hope, but he didn't take away hope either. I believed him. On the third day, I'd left my Apple Watch on the break room table. I only realized it when I got back to the waiting room and felt my wrist was bare. I'd gone back to get it, walking quickly through the hallway, not thinking about anything except the fact that I'd lose my activity ring if I didn't close it out. The break room was empty except for Dr. Chen and Dr. Okonkwo. The door was cracked open. I was reaching for the handle when I heard my daughter's name. I didn't plan to record. The watch just did it. One of those features I'd never bothered to turn off, automatic voice recording for reminders. The watch had been sitting on the table between them, and it captured every word. I'd taken the watch and left. I didn't listen to the recording until later that night, after I'd gone home to shower and change clothes. Ashley was asleep in the hospital chair beside Lily's incubator. My mother was driving home to get some rest. It was just me in our house, standing in the kitchen at midnight, listening to 2 doctors discuss how to let my 3-day-old daughter die. I didn't tell anyone, not Ashley, not my mother, not Linda, who would have called her lawyer immediately. I just listened to it over and over, trying to make sense of it, trying to figure out what to do. And now I'm standing in Dr. Chen's office with the proof in my hands, and he's asking me what I want. I want my daughter to live. I repeat, I want you to tell me the truth about her condition. I want you to tell me what aggressive treatment would look like, and I want you to tell me why you were really planning to give up on her. He closes his eyes. When he opens them again, he looks older, defeated. Her blood work from this morning, he says quietly. actually shows improvement. The lactate levels are dropping. Her kidney function is stable. If we continue with the cooling therapy and the supportive medications, she has a reasonable chance of survival, maybe even without severe neurological damage. I feel something crack open in my chest. You were going to let her die even though she was getting better? We didn't know that yet, he says. And even if she survives, Michael, you need to understand. No, I cut him off. You don't get to explain this away. You were ready to give up. That's not medicine. That's something else entirely. He doesn't answer. I'm going to need a copy of her full medical file, I say. Every test result, every note, everything. And I want to speak with the hospital administration. And then I'm going to speak with a lawyer. Michael. No, you're done talking to me. I leave his office and walk back down the hallway toward the NICU. My hands are still shaking, but now it's from rage instead of fear. I can see Ashley through the window, asleep in the chair beside Lily's incubator. My mother is there too, having come back. They're both waiting for me to tell them what the doctor said. I'm about to tell them everything, but as I reach the window and look at my daughter, this tiny, fighting, precious human, I realize something that makes my blood run cold. This is just the beginning. Getting her the right treatment is one thing. But what happens after? What happens when word gets out about what those doctors were planning? What happens to my career? To Ashley? To our family? I don't know yet, but I'm about to find out. I pull out my phone and open my contacts. I scroll past all the family, all the friends. I find what I'm looking for. James Whitmore, attorney at law. I dial the number. James Whitmore picks up on the third ring. His voice is calm, measured. The voice of someone who's heard desperate calls at midnight before. This is James. My name is Michael Torres. I need a lawyer, right now, tonight if possible. There's a pause. I can hear him typing. What's the situation? My 3-day-old daughter is in the NICU at Riverside Medical Center. The attending neonatologist and another doctor were discussing how to let her die without telling us the truth about her condition. I have a recording. The typing stops. You have audio of them discussing palliative care that wasn't actually palliative, discussing how to convince us to give up, and her condition is actually improving. They were going to let her die while she was getting better. I'm sending you my office address. Can you meet me in an hour? Yeah, I can. And Michael, don't tell anyone else. Not yet. Not your wife. Not your family. Nobody. I hang up and stand there in the hospital hallway, phone still in my hand. Through the NICU window, I can see Ashley. She's moved closer to Lily's incubator now. Her hand is on the glass, like she's trying to touch our daughter through it. I should go tell her. I should tell her that our daughter is going to live, that the doctors were wrong, that everything is going to be okay. But James's words are echoing in my head. Don't tell anyone. I walk back into the waiting room. My mother looks up from her phone. Linda is asleep in one of the uncomfortable chairs, her head tilted back at an angle that's going to give her neck problems. What did Dr. Chen say? My mother asks. I sit down next to Ashley. She looks at me with red-rimmed eyes, waiting. She's been waiting for 3 days. Waiting for good news, or bad news, or any news at all. Just waiting. He said they're going to continue the cooling therapy. He said her numbers are holding stable. He wants to monitor her through the night. It's not a lie. It's just incomplete. Ashley nods slowly. That's good, right? Holding stable is good. Yeah, I say. It's good. She leans her head on my shoulder and cries quietly. My mother puts her arm around both of us, and I sit there, holding the knowledge of what those doctors were planning, like a bomb in my chest, unable to tell anyone, unable to do anything but wait. My phone buzzes. A text from an unknown number. The address of James's office. And one line. Come alone. I tell Ashley I need coffee. I tell my mother I need air. Both are true. I drive through the dark Columbus suburbs in my truck, past the closed strip malls and the darkened neighborhoods where people are sleeping, unaware that the world is ending for someone they'll never meet. James Whitmore's office is in a professional building near the courthouse downtown. The lights in the lobby are dim. The elevator smells like industrial cleaner and old carpet. Third floor. James is waiting for me in his office when I walk in. He's older than his voice suggested. Maybe 60, with gray hair and the kind of tired eyes that come from 30 years of other people's disasters. He's still wearing a shirt and tie, like he never actually went home. "Sit," he says. I sit. Play the recording. I pull out my phone and hit play. The audio fills the small office. His voice, and Dr. Okonkwo's voice, talking about my daughter like she's a problem to solve instead of a human being. When it ends, James is quiet for a long moment. "This is bad," he says finally. "Not for you, for them, for the hospital." "I don't want money," I say. "I want my daughter treated properly. I want those doctors investigated." "You'll get both. But I need to be clear about something. Once we file a complaint with the hospital administration and the state medical board, this becomes public. Your family's privacy goes away. The media gets involved. You become the guy whose daughter almost died because his doctors wanted to let her die." I don't care." "You will. Trust me. But that's the price of justice." He opens a drawer and pulls out a yellow legal pad. He starts writing. "Here's what we do. First, we get your daughter a new medical team. I have a colleague whose husband is the chief of pediatrics at Nationwide Children's Hospital. Top 10 in the country. We move Lily there tonight. New environment, new doctors, continuity of care. Can we do that? With a lawyer making the calls? Yes. Second, I file a complaint with the Ohio Medical Board first thing in the morning, before the hospital can get ahead of it. Third, we give them 72 hours to provide a full accounting of her medical care and their treatment plan. If they don't cooperate, we go to the media. What about Dr. Chen? What about Okonkwo? They'll lose their licenses. Both of them. And the hospital will settle with you for an undisclosed amount. Probably 6 figures, maybe 7. The money doesn't feel real. Money can't buy back the 3 days I spent thinking my daughter was dying. Money can't buy back the nights Ashley spent in that hospital chair, hands shaking, eyes vacant with grief that hadn't even happened yet. "How long?" I ask. "To move her? 2 hours? To investigate? 6 months? Maybe a year? To resolution? 2 to 3 years if it goes to trial." I nod. 2 to 3 years. I can do 2 to 3 years. I can do anything if it means Lily gets to grow up. "There's one more thing," James says. He leans back in his chair. "The recording. How exactly did you get it?" "My Apple Watch. I left it on the break room table. It was on voice recording mode." His expression doesn't change, but something shifts in the room. "That's a problem." "Why?" "Because Ohio is a 2-party consent state for recording, meaning both parties have to know they're being recorded. If you recorded them without their knowledge, that recording is inadmissible in court. It could actually get us both in trouble, you for illegal recording and me for using it." The room tilts. "What?" "But," James says, holding up a hand, "it's not admissible in court. That doesn't mean it's not useful. We use it to prompt the investigation. We don't use it as evidence. We let the hospital's own records and the medical board's investigation do the talking. So we can't use it. Not directly. But it got us to the truth. And the truth, Michael, is that those doctors made notes in her file about their intentions. They documented their thought process. That documentation is admissible. That's what we use." I feel something relax in my chest. The recording was just a key. The real evidence is already in the system. "Okay," I say. "So what do I do now?" "You go back to the hospital. You don't tell anyone about this conversation. You don't tell your wife, your mother, nobody. You act like nothing has changed. Tomorrow morning, I'll call the hospital administrator and start the process of moving Lily. You'll get a call from a pediatric transport team. You'll tell your wife that you want a second opinion, that you want Lily at a better facility. That's the truth. You don't mention the doctor's conversation." "I can't lie to Ashley." "You're not lying. You're protecting your daughter and your case. Those are the same thing right now. He stands up and walks me to the door. Get some sleep if you can. Tomorrow is going to be a long day. I don't sleep. I drive back to the hospital and park in the lot. I sit in my truck for an hour, watching the building, watching the windows of the NICU light up the night. Somewhere in there, my daughter is fighting. Somewhere in there, she's winning. At 4 a.m., I go back inside. Ashley is asleep now, finally, in the family waiting room. My mother is with her. Linda has gone home. The hallway is quiet except for the hum of machines and the occasional beep of monitors. I stand at the NICU window and look at Lily. Really look at her. The tubes, the wires, the rise and fall of her tiny chest. She's so small, so impossibly small, but she's alive. And she's fighting. And I'm going to make sure those doctors never get the chance to give up on her again. My phone buzzes. A text from James. Transport team is being arranged. You'll get the call at 8 a.m. Be ready. I text back. Thank you. He responds immediately. Don't thank me yet. The hard part is just starting. I know he's right. But standing here, watching my daughter breathe, I feel something I haven't felt in 3 days. Hope. It's fragile, terrifying hope. The kind that comes right before everything either gets better or gets infinitely worse. The kind that only comes when you finally stop waiting for someone else to save you and start fighting to save yourself. Lily's eyes flutter. For a moment, I swear she's looking at me through the glass. Hold on, baby, I whisper. Daddy's got this now. And that's when everything changes. #finalnej čast. The call comes at exactly 8 a.m., just like James said it would. The transport coordinator from Nationwide Children's Hospital is professional, efficient, and asks no questions. We have a bed in the NICU, she says. We can have a team there in 90 minutes. Your daughter will be moved by noon. I'm holding the phone in the hallway outside the NICU when I tell her yes. Through the glass, I can see Ashley checking Lily's monitors, touching the incubator gently, whispering something I can't hear. My mother is in the waiting room, probably on her 3rd coffee by now. Linda went home around 6, complaining about her back. I tell Ashley we need to talk, privately. She follows me into the family waiting room and closes the door. There's fear in her eyes immediately. The kind of fear that lives in hospital waiting rooms, the kind that knows how to recognize bad news. The transport team is coming, I say. I called a pediatric cardiologist I know. He's the chief of pediatrics at Nationwide. I want Lily to have a second opinion. Top hospital in the state. I want her there. Ashley's face goes through about 5 different emotions in 3 seconds. Is that bad? Does that mean? No, I say. It means I'm not satisfied with where we are. It means I want more, better, everything. She stares at me. Michael, we can't afford. I don't care about the money. I care about our daughter. She pulls me into a hug, and I'm holding her while she cries, and I'm lying to her by omission, and I hate it, but I can't tell her yet. James was clear. Not until the medical board investigation starts. Not until we have the documentation in hand. Not until we can prove it. When? She asks, pulling back. 2 hours. The next 90 minutes are a blur of logistics. My mother helps us pack what little we've accumulated in the hospital room. Ashley's phone charger, my change of clothes, the blanket we brought from home. The transport team arrives in 2 vehicles, a neonatal ambulance with all the equipment needed to keep Lily stable during the 40-minute drive, and a parent vehicle for Ashley and me. I ride with Lily. Ashley rides with the medical team. I drive behind them, like I'm in a funeral procession, except my daughter is alive and getting better, and we're taking her to the best pediatric hospital in Ohio. The move to Nationwide takes 2 hours total. By 2 p.m., Lily is in a new NICU bay, hooked up to new machines, under the care of Dr. Sarah Patel, who looks at her chart and immediately orders a new round of labs. Hypoxic ischemic encephalopathy, grade 3, she reads, but her lactate levels are dropping. Her kidney function is stable. When did you last see improvement? 24 hours ago, I say carefully. And her previous team's plan was palliative care, letting nature take its course. Dr. Patel's jaw tightens. She's maybe 45, with dark eyes that don't miss anything. That's not my approach. Not with these numbers. We're going to treat her aggressively. Cooling therapy, medications, supportive care. She's a fighter. Let's give her a real chance. Ashley starts crying. The good kind of crying. The kind that comes with hope instead of despair. By 6 p.m., James calls me. I've filed the complaint with the Ohio Medical Board, he says. Preliminary investigation into gross negligence and potential violations of the Patient Bill of Rights. I've also sent a formal request to the hospital for Lily's complete medical file and documentation of all treatment decisions. What happens now? Now we wait. The board will contact Dr. Chen and Dr. Okonkwo. They'll have 10 days to respond. The hospital will have 20 days to provide documentation. In the meantime, you keep your head down. You focus on your daughter. And the recording? Off the table. We don't need it. The documentation is enough. He's right. Over the next week, as I sit with Ashley in Nationwide's waiting room, I watch the medical board's process unfold. A hospital administrator calls me directly. We're conducting an internal review, she says carefully. Can you tell me about your concerns regarding Dr. Chen's treatment approach? I tell her everything except the recording. I tell her about the conversation I overheard. I tell her about the sudden shift from aggressive treatment to palliative care. I tell her that Lily's numbers were improving. We take this very seriously, the administrator says. We're interviewing the medical staff and reviewing the documentation. 48 hours later, Dr. Chen and Dr. Okonkwo are placed on administrative leave pending investigation. The local news picks it up on day 5. Investigation launched into Ohio Hospital's treatment of newborn with HIE, reads the headline. The story doesn't name us, patient privacy, but it names the hospital, names the doctors, quotes the medical board. By evening, there are 3 more news outlets covering it. My phone rings. It's my mother. Are you the story? She asks. I can't talk about it, I say. Michael, is Lily okay? Yes, I tell her. Lily's okay. That's all that matters to her. She cries on the phone, relief, joy, the release of 5 days of terror. She tells Linda. By morning, my extended family knows. By afternoon, the story has spread through our neighborhood in Worthington. The HOA president leaves a message saying they're thinking of us. The investigation takes 3 weeks. On day 22, I get a call from the Ohio Medical Board. We're recommending license suspension for both physicians, the investigator tells me, pending a formal hearing. There's clear documentation in the patient file of their intention to discontinue aggressive treatment without adequate justification or parental consultation. What happens at the hearing? I ask. They'll have the opportunity to present their case, but based on the documentation, I'd be surprised if they keep their licenses. I don't feel vindicated. I feel hollowed out. 2 doctors' careers are ending because they made a choice in a break room while I was holding my Apple Watch. 2 families are about to be destroyed. And my daughter is alive because I happened to leave a recording device on a table. It's not justice. It's just luck wearing a justice costume. But I'll take it. Lily's recovery is slow and steady. By week 3 at Nationwide, she's off the cooling therapy. By week 4, she's breathing more on her own. By week 6, she comes home. We bring her to the house in Worthington that suddenly feels too small and too fragile. Ashley sets up the bassinet in our bedroom. My mother comes over and cries while holding her. Linda brings a casserole and tells us about a friend of a friend whose baby had HIE and was fine. The medical board hearing happens while Lily is 3 weeks old. James doesn't make me attend. You've done enough, he says. Let me handle this part. He sends me the transcript anyway. Dr. Chen tries to argue that he was discussing realistic outcomes, not euthanasia. He says the recording was taken out of context. He says he was preparing them for the worst while hoping for the best. The board isn't convinced. They revoke his license. Dr. Okonkwo's license is suspended for 2 years with mandatory retraining and ethics review. The hospital settles with us for $1.2 million, split between Lily's future medical care and a trust fund. The money sits in accounts. I don't touch it. It's not mine. It belongs to my daughter, to the 3 days she spent fighting for her life, while 2 doctors debated whether she was worth saving. 6 months later, I'm back at work in IT management. The office is normal. Fluorescent lights, cubicles, the endless hum of people pretending their jobs matter. My coworkers ask how the baby is. I tell them she's perfect. I don't tell them about the doctors, the investigation, the license revocations that made the news for exactly 1 week before everyone forgot about it and moved on to the next story. Lily hits her developmental milestones early. At 6 months, she's rolling over. At 9 months, she's crawling. At 1 year, the neurologist declares her neurologically intact. No evidence of permanent damage from the hypoxic ischemic event. She's normal. She's healthy. She's going to be fine. Ashley and I don't talk much about what happened. It's too big, too strange, too lucky. We just live with it, the way you live with winning the lottery or being struck by lightning. You understand you're statistically improbable. You understand you should be grateful, but mostly you just move forward because that's what people do. James calls me on Lily's first birthday. "Settlement check cleared," he says. "After legal fees, you're looking at just under $1 million in the trust." "What do I do with it?" I ask. "Whatever you want. Pay for college. Let it grow. Give it to her when she's 18. I don't answer right away. I'm watching Lily in her high chair, smashing cake into her face with her tiny fists, laughing like the world is the best joke ever told. "I'm going to use it to help other families," I say finally. "Families in the NECU. People going through what we went through." "That's good," James says. "That's really good." But even as I'm saying it, I know the real reason. It's not altruism. It's that I can't spend money that came from the fact that my daughter almost died. I can't use it for vacation or a new car or anything normal, because accepting that money means accepting that what happened was worth something, that there's a price on 3 days of terror. There isn't. There never will be. What happened is that I left my watch on a table. What happened is that I listened to a recording I wasn't supposed to have. What happened is that I called a lawyer at midnight. What happened is that my daughter is alive. The doctors who wanted to let her die got suspended and fired. The hospital paid money they probably shouldn't have to pay. And I'm standing in my kitchen on a sunny afternoon, listening to my daughter laugh from the living room, understanding that the world doesn't work on justice. It works on luck, timing, and the willingness to fight when you know you're right. Lily turns 2 next month. Her hair is getting lighter, curling at the ends. She has my nose and Ashley's smile. She says words now. Mama, dada, no. She's perfect. Sometimes I think about what would have happened if I hadn't left my watch on that table, if I hadn't heard the conversation, if I hadn't called James at midnight. But I don't think about it often, because the answer is too terrible, and my daughter is too alive, and some gifts are too fragile to examine too closely. She's here. That's all that matters. She's here, and she's healthy, and she's going to grow up and graduate and fall in love and have a life full of moments that have nothing to do with the NICU or the doctors or the recording that saved her. She's going to be okay, and that's the only justice I ever needed.